Hey, how you doing out there? Welcome back. And I don't know about you, but for me, scales were very, very intimidating because of two reasons. One, I didn't understand what they are, and more importantly, I didn't understand how to use them in my guitar playing. I learned my scales too early in my journey, right? So for those of you that are just starting out and you're just learning a few chords, I didn't have anybody like you do that says, Ray, push all that stuff aside. You don't need it. There will be a time for it, maybe, but you don't need to learn scales to be a guitar player. Well, I didn't know that. So one of the first things I did when I started to learn the guitar was, well, because I saw a video and it looked cool and the guy was going up and down, I thought, well, I got to be like that or else I'm not a guitar player. So I went out and started learning scales without knowing what I was doing. Now we now know, because you have me, we now know that the pertinence of the scales is to group relevant notes together that we can play over chords that are playing in the background. In other words, we could play leads or solos or accoutrements using these scales because they contain the notes of the chords that we're playing. We know that now. And that's great. But it still doesn't explain or tell us something else. And this is so important. And it did not happen until just a while ago. And when I realized it, dying, everything fell into place. And that is, you don't have to play the whole scale. So let's take the A minor pentatonic, which is what I was sort of playing at the opening here. So we have, this is the way we learn it, right? Then we get all brave and happy because we can do this. Come backwards, right? And go, oh, yeah. Then I would spend a half hour on that doing up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Didn't know what the notes were, didn't know why I was doing it, right? Okay. Well, now I'm going to tell you why I was doing it. Well, because, look, this is an exercise, in my opinion. That's all it is. Okay? Now, because we're not learning the notes, because we're not there yet, we don't understand this as beginners, we're just doing an exercise, what someone shows us to do. And it's a good exercise because it teaches us and gives us dexterity in our fingers, and it makes us play the note properly. And we need that moving forward. So, hey, it's all great. I don't dispel this. Play them up and down. But the reality is, when we go up and down that particular scale, the A minor pentatonic, we're actually playing it 4 times because penta is 5 notes, 5. So the 5 notes, the first 5 notes, that's the scale. The second 5 notes are the same as the first, but they're higher, an octave higher. So really we're playing it twice, okay? And then if we come back again, we're playing it 4 times because we're going 1, and then we're playing the second 5, and then we're playing the second 5 again, and then the first 5. So we're playing it 4 times. Now I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think there's ever a time, other than just playing around, amusing myself, or maybe one person that we're just playing around, I might go through the whole scale during a chord progression just for fun. But that's not what we do. Here's what we do. We take portions of the scale. Now, I did a video back on the A major scale, or the major scale, and I showed you how I learned the scale, which is by breaking the scale down into little box shapes that I can then play individually without having to play the whole scale. Well, this is the same idea. So the reality is, as you saw in the opening, and I'm going to do it again right here, is even this simplistic thing like I'm doing now. I only use 5 notes at the most, 4 and then 5. I mean, I can use as many as I want, but I don't have to. And just like everything else, when I always tell you that it's better to know 3 chords inside and out and backwards and play music with them than it is to know 8 chords but don't know them well enough to make music with them, right? Same thing here. Now, we've done the practice, we've done the practice routine of fingering all the chords. Well, now what? Now we got to make them sound like music, okay? And just to show you that we can do it in any chord, we'll now shift over to the A major scale. So that was the A pentatonic, and now we can do it, we'll do the same in the A major scale. So what I'm going to do is, this is endless noodling and practicing. This is what turns, remember the chords? 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Remember those days? Okay, that wasn't music. That was just playing chords. And it's great, but we're not playing music. Then as we got better and our right hand got a little better, right? What did we do? Well, we turned that into... turned it more into music. Well, now we got to do the same thing with our scales. So, right hand has to come in. Now we got to stop this whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got to stop that. Get away from that. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to isolate on a few notes. So we'll go, that was the pentatonic, we'll go back to that A major. So we're going to isolate a few notes. So why don't we take the A, this note here, which is a D flat, goes into that note there, which is your D, and then 2 frets over. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got these 5 notes. We could even go 4. There's a melody. Let's start making melodies with little portions of the scale. So, notice a little gap there. I didn't play 1, 2, 3, 4. I went, because that's what happens in music sometimes, right? You play a 1 and then the 2 is sort of silent, so it's boom, 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 right? It's not all play every note, every chord, every strum of every chord. It is when we're beginners, but as we start turning it into music, we learn how to let chords ring out. Well, we got to do the same with our scales. So let's just take those notes. See what I did there? It's called a slide. So let's look at the slide. We're going to start implementing little fancy finger techniques to turn our notes into music. So the first one I'm going to show you is the slide, right? I usually use my ring finger. Okay, you can use any finger you want. But let's take these notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And turn them into... There's a little riff right there. Let's play it over our A chord progression. See what I mean? It's just 4 notes. But we used a little fanciness, a little slide action. Let's go do it in the pentatonic, right? So here we go in the pentatonic. Now, if you noticed, I used 2 notes. That's it, from the pentatonic scale. I know all the notes, but I only used 2. And I had a little slide action back and forth. And that's all I did. So your goal now is to take the scale that you learn, and you don't have to know all these scales. Please trust me on this. 1 or 2 scales, and that's if you really want to fit in with the boys at the jam and be a little more versatile. But if you only knew 1 scale inside and out, just like I always say, if you only know 2 or 3 chords inside and out, you're going to go a long way. If I know 1 scale but inside and out, and I can make it sound like music, at our level, there's nowhere that we're going to be able to not be able to go and fit in using our 1 scale without someone going, oh, excuse me, but we got to be on the Dorian scale here, or the Meloxian scale, or the major, minor, dupedonic. Nobody's going to say that because you're going to sound good. So take the 1 scale that you like. Take the 1 scale that you think you play best, whatever it is, okay? And start picking apart that scale. First of all, understand the notes that you're playing. Take a look at that, because remember, when you learned, and when I learned, and I'm sure you're the same, but when I learned, it wasn't notes, it was numbers. Like, go figure, right? So they're setting you up for dependency right from day one, because now the only way you can play a solo or a scale is if you had numbers. Oh, 5, 7, 5. Well, why isn't that a 5, 10? 5. Forget that, right? A, C, D, E. Okay? If it's the major scale, A, B, D flat, D, E. Okay? 5 notes. Make a melody. Or take these 5 notes and make a melody. Don't worry about all the other notes. Don't worry if you're not going in order. Out the window with that. Open the window, and hopefully you're on a high floor. We got to stop thinking that way, or else you'll never make music. I never made a note of music with my scales until I opened that window, threw everything out the window, and just started to say, okay, if this is the scale, why can't I just play those 4 chords? And play them well. Done. So when you start going from worrying about 10 notes and how to play them and what they're going to sound like, even if you cut that in half and say, okay, I'm only going to worry about 5 notes. These 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let me make music from those 5 notes. Okay? You don't even have to always start there. We can start. Okay? So that's how you bring your scales to life. That, and more importantly, that's the job of the scale, is to tuck into your chord playing or tuck into someone else's chord playing, and you can play along, over, or under using those 5 notes that sound musical. So once again, here they are in a chord progression. See how simple it can be? What did I use there? For the longest time, I just used a couple of notes and I slid back and forth. That's it. And as we go further with this, we'll look at some other little fancy finger techniques that we can do to make our 3, 4, 5 notes sound even cooler, right? Or better. So that's it. That is the scale process. No matter what scale. We tried it. We've done it on 2 today. You can take any scale and look at it the same way. Break it down, know the notes, isolate the notes into little groups, and just play those 3-4 notes within the scale. Then when you're good at that, find those same notes elsewhere in the scale, because they will be there, and play it there. As opposed to da 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 da. We could do that forever and it will never sound like a song. All right? Okay, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, absolutely send them along. If this kind of stuff helps you, let me know. And check my community tab for live streams. Right now, we seem to be floating on Tuesdays to go live. So check the community for that. And other than that, hey, if you're new and you think I can help you with your guitar playing, by all means hit subscribe. It's very much appreciated trying to grow this channel. And other than that, remember, just play your guitar because that's how you get better.